everybody. It's Keeping It Real with Sue. Just thought I'd bring you down here to the graveside of my son Luke. Luke was 20 years old when he passed away last year, June 24th. It's just so hard for me to believe that this time last year he was traveling across America with us. We'd gone to visit the Grand Canyon and Mesa Verde and Four Corners and stopped by Missouri to see his sister and her family. Then we went to see my son Daniel and his family in South Dakota. Isaiah and I took him on this big trip across America. Well, not across America, but quite a few states. I think we went to 10 states. And 1 week later, very unexpectedly, he passed away. And I'm still a bit in shock. You know, the thing about losing somebody that's just so close to you is grief comes in waves, like the first few weeks, all you want to do is cry uh, and uh, just a lot of tears, as you could well imagine. And then eventually, the tears don't come every day. Oh my goodness, holidays are horrible. The first Christmas, the first Thanksgiving, the first Easter, his first birthday without him. And now, a year. It's just hard to believe a year has passed. And somehow life goes on. This past week, I hired a few young ladies to help us paint. My daughter Lily is in between jobs right now, and she has a good friend, Ellie, and we have another young lady that lives with us, Selena, and so we did a lot of painting this week, and we did a lot of repairing of walls. And one of the days, Lily and I just sat there and cried because Luke was in a wheelchair for many years, and his chair destroyed walls. He was on oxygen a lot, and oxygen tanks would fall, and we would have dents in our walls, and all those scuff marks from his wheelchair and the dents in the walls are gone now. And I said to Lily, it was like erasing him. And yet, of course, he can't be erased. You see, Luke, when he was 17 months old, had a horrible drowning accident in our backyard pool. And he was dead for at least 45 minutes. And just when the doctors were getting ready to write down the time of death, they had a heartbeat. And I believe it was prayer. And God blessed us with many more years of life with Luke. And yet Luke was never the same again. Luke was medically fragile. He was 24/7 care. And that's why my channel started, Keeping It Real with Sue. And I've said this before in a video, but Keeping It Real with Sue started on Facebook. And I would do Keeping It Real posts. And unless you've ever had a family member that's full-time care, you can't even comprehend how hard it is to have a 20-year-old and still be changing diapers. And Luke was never able to eat again through his mouth. And so he had a feeding tube, and we had to feed him. And because his lungs had quite a bit of damage from the drowning accident, he was on oxygen quite often, and he was monitored often for his oxygen levels. And we never could leave him because he had horrible seizures. And yet we didn't let that stop us. Luke went on many of our vacations. We went camping every year with him. We took him on a 7-week vacation across America. Um, and we went to 32 states that year. And it was a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. You should have seen our van. He had a wheelchair accessible van, and it was packed to the gill with all of his equipment and food supplies and food pumps and oximeters and concentrators and oxygen tanks and um, vest machines. Just so much. And yet it was worth it, because if I would have known 2 years ago that he'd be gone, I just, I don't know. We never let Luke's abilities stop our family. The wheelchair went everywhere. We took him up to mountains, and took him to um, sporting events, and we took him to church. Church was his main outlet, besides lots of doctor's appointments. Luke was just too fragile to even go to school, so he never was a part of the school. But we homeschooled our kids. I homeschooled for 26 years, a long time. And we finished that last year with my youngest, Lily. And Luke benefited all those years from um, being a part of our family and being in our living room and just listening to us as we schooled our kids. And, Luke knew. I would tell doctors all the time, Luke was never able to speak verbally, but he spoke with his eyes. And I'll never forget the one time they were doing another surgery. Luke had lots of surgeries, but one time they were going to do a surgery on his knees just to help him bend because he had some muscle issues. And the doctor's like, why is Luke crying? What's the matter with him? Has he had a long day? And I'm like, no, he understands everything you're saying, because she was talking about the surgery and the recovery time, and he understood everything. So we always made sure to let him know that we loved him so much, and that we would do it all for him again in a heartbeat. So many sleepless nights, and so many uh, hard times. Lots of hospital stays. Luke was actually dead 3 times, and he had no heartbeat. And because of his seizure problem, he if he got really sick, would have horrible seizures. And for a while there, he had seizures where he just would stop breathing. Oh my gosh. I'll just be honest to say that as hard as stuff was with Luke, I would say that seizures were the hardest. My hair's going crazy because it's windy out here. Anyways, we live in Washington. Part of the reason why we chose this cemetery plot was that tree right there. And it's been interesting because it's been a whole year that we've been coming out here now. And it's been interesting to see this tree go from, it looked dead, no life, loses all its leaves, to, oh, it's so gorgeous now. And isn't that just how life is? None of us are guaranteed life. I've heard it said, none of us are going to get off this planet alive unless the rapture happens. And we're all going to die one day. And for us and our family, death became so real to us last year. And we were blessed last year to have all of our children home and our grandchildren. It's just so sad that some of them didn't make it in time to say goodbye. Part of keeping it real with Sue is talking about the joys of walking. You've been on lots of walks with me. and traveling. I love to travel, but some of it will always be about Luke and just memories and just keeping it real with you. And just can I encourage you today that if you have somebody in your life that has some, uh, oh, sorry, just dropped my phone. If you have somebody in your life that has some physical challenges or speech disabilities or intellectual or physical or emotional, have extra patience with them. They can't help it. And we, as people, need to learn how to be kind to people with all abilities. And that's the one thing that we really learned in Luke and having Luke be a part of our life is there's a lot of good people out there, people that want to help and people that uh, were very willing to pray. We had so many people pray for Luke for years and years and years. And I really believe that that's part of what carried our family through so many hard, hard days. And we've still got prayers coming. And I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm going to sign out for now, but if you can't, keep us in your prayers because in a couple weeks, it'll be a whole year anniversary. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure how I'm going to get through it, but I know I will because I have a strong faith in God and I know that He will help me. He says in His Bible, "Come to me, all you that are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And that's what I need. Need joy for the journey. God bless you all and keep it real with me. Have a good day.